Go, Jackie.
How come I can't see you? Hey, Prof.
Yes, man.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Yeah, my internet is not doing too good. So if I disappear, you should carry on the show. How are you, Prof? It's nice
Mm.
to see you again.
Yeah. Always every Friday. That's good.
We
At
probably find
least.
some of your students here again listening to you.
Well, I don't know. uh,
One of your students calling you?
uh,
Yeah, it's nice to see you,
you
Prof.
still
Yeah.
hearing a sound?
Yeah. No, no, no. It's gone. It's been a tough week, a lot of work, but we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. How was your week?
Oh, well, seeing most thing, but of course, this week was more of a was the spring break. Yes.
Oh, you have spring break. Ours is not till April 1st.
Spring break ends on the 19th.
Yeah,
Started on the
yeah. So,
13th.
oh, okay. Did you get some rest during your spring break?
I don't know. Perhaps rest is not in my vocabulary. you know, you have several things going on in your life, then it's very difficult to have the rest as people know it to be.
To be, yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah. So, well, we're here. We're here again as always. Prof and I always go to my prof and say, oh, we did this last week, but we had to. And Prof, I was saying to him, he's very learned. He will say,
Oh,
do this one and let's do that one. So Prof says there's a book that I should have read, which I have not read, The Idea of the University. And
mm,
Prof said, why don't we discuss that in light of all that has been happening in our country? So I had to read the book. I didn't finish the book, but it's very, very interesting. And most of the time we kind of frame our discussion around a literary text, and so today we're going to talk about the idea of the university, which is the topic of our talk. Our talk is, what is a university? And John that for us, and then we're going to discuss it. So today, for those of you who are wondering, here's our page, and I'm telling you, Prof, my internet is very slow. It's, what is a
yeah.
university? I put is in italics, but what is a university is what we're going to be discussing today. And you guys feel free to join the conversation. Prof and I, we're here, but you can always join the conversation. So you will be answering this question as well. But Prof and I will endeavor to discuss it. Prof, how did you know of this book, The Idea of University?
As I was saying, uh, it's all the way from my undergrad days. And besides few things pulling me here and there, I was always in love with reading, and therefore I managed to stumble on that, and then I picked it up and started reading several other things related to, you know, John Stuart Mills and all those guys, Immanuel Kant and all those people there. So it's a long journey from that afternoon at the University of Liberia.
A little bit the author, John Henry Newman. He was an English theologian, an academic, and a philosopher, a polymath, a historian, writer, scholar, and poet. He was first an Anglican priest, and later he joined the Catholic Church,
Yeah,
and he became a cardinal. But at
yeah,
great expense, because for joining the Catholic Church, his family almost disowned him.
Yeah.
You know, he was born February 21, 1801. I'm reading because I don't have all of these in my head. He died August 11, 1890. And while reading, I learned that he was canonized 2019.
Remember,
But I'm telling you, I'm having problems.
he's from Ireland. He's from Ireland now. He's an Irish,
Yeah,
and so one can
yeah.
understand the tension between.
But
Uh,
no
uh,
thing is,
the thing- huh?
no, I'm listening.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So I mean, Ireland, Belfast, and all those places there, you you had to toe the line when it came to the Catholic Church, and so the Protestants and the Catholics were often at loggerheads, and so one will understand why when he decided to become a Catholic, he created tension in his family. Mhm.
And um, it's some. I mean, in the old days, people who were I mean, people associated with the church, they were intellectuals. They would question things. Why is this so? They will not question their faith, but sometimes they will question some of the works of the church.
Yeah.
But these days we
Well,
see people who just
mhm.
say, "Oh, I'm bishop, I'm pastor."
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
have to follow what the church says. But
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
I mean, he was an intellectual. He questioned things. I think
Hmm.
it also comes with education, And a lot of people say, "Oh, and we always say there's a difference between being literate and
Hmm.
being educated.
Yeah.
Literate means that
Mm.
you can read and write,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Educate.
it's one of
Be,
the blocks of an education. But a
yeah.
lot of people are not educated; they're just literate.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think,
That is
yeah.
true, and that
So
that kind of adds to our problem nowadays. Because the thing to drive you to want to think through a lot of things is not there anymore. It's not there anymore,
yeah,
and it's a sad thing.
yeah,
It's a sad thing.
yeah. I want to read a piece that I saw. And John Newman, the Cardinal
Yes.
Newman believed in a middle way between free thinking and moral
Hmm.
authority,
Yeah.
one that would respect the rights of knowledge as well as
Hmm.
the rights of revelation. His purpose was
Hmm.
to build a Catholic church, a Catholic
Hmm.
university in a world where the
Yeah.
major Catholic universities on the continent had been secularized. Now, listen, for a university to claim in the light, it would have to support research and publication free from church censorship.
Hmm.
But then he says,
The
however, this author, yeah. So I mean, I interesting that he says that it has to be free from censorship. Prof,
mhm.
what do you make of that?
No, but that's what it is now, because with censorship comes the stifling of knowledge. Remember that he saw the university as a hub for a multiplicity of silos of knowledge. Silos of knowledge coming together would feed the university to make it more vibrant. So, since that was one
I'm
of his
telling you,
goals,
my very bad, but I'm listening.
so to ensure that these things will happen, that is, silos of knowledge coming together, because the university being the hub, uh, create an environment for cross pollination of ideas, cross pollination of cultures, and all those things that will increase the free thinking of individuals that will eventually go to serve society. So if
Okay.
there were no silos and all those things, then definitely there would be a problem.
Okay. I made this interesting as we go along. I may or may not agree with you, but I'm going to
Yeah,
play
go ahead.
the devil advocate.
You
Okay.
know,
But
I'm always
let's
welcoming that. That.
let's start with the book, the idea of a university.
The
And,
idea.
and let's look at some of the quotations from the book.
Yeah.
He says, to erect a university, it is pledged to admit without fear, without
Hmm.
prejudice, without compromise,
Hmm.
all comers, if they come
Yeah.
in the name of truth,
Yeah.
to adjust views and
Hmm.
experiences and habits of mind, the
Hmm.
most independent and dissimilar,
Yeah.
right?
And the
It
similar
is
is
a
a key
place of
word
teaching
there.
knowledge.
Hmm.
This is on one hand intellectual, yeah, not moral, and on the other hand, that it is the diffusion and
Hmm.
extension of knowledge rather than the advancement.
Okay.
So if we look at that, what he's saying is people come to the university, but it is the diffusion of knowledge, not the advancement.
Hmm.
So you're there to kindle a fire, to learn, and then to
Yeah.
spread, right? There
And
may be people who
and
will say,
it's
"Oh, I'll do research," but mhm,
yeah. And then the thing about it is that the diffusion is important because out of the diffusion will spark the the energy of wanting to take it onto a higher level.
yes,
So diffusion, the population is broadened, and it is anybody's guess what might come as a result of the diffusion of knowledge. If you,
yeah, because people
if
always say,
you, yeah, because people always say,
no, 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 like they say, education is the lighting of a fire, not the
yeah,
filling of a pail. You're
okay,
not you're not filling the person. It's just the lighting
hmm,
of the fire, in that
yes,
person. And it's like
hmm,
telling a story, and the person say, and
hmm,
then what happened? And then what
and then
happened?
what
You
happened?
know, and then what happened? And
Mhm.
then that person tells another person, and tells another
Okay,
person.
mhm,
Yeah. So he says it's not the advancement so much; it's the
mhm,
diffusion of
mhm.
knowledge. And
I am
we
remind,
agree.
yeah, I am
Mhm.
reminded of Jean-Jacques Rousseau.
Yes,
He
yeah.
he wrote his book Emile. Okay, Emile or on education. That's the complete title. Emile or on education. There he talks about uh, training an individual, training an individual on skills like critical thinking, observation, and all those. And what those that person does with critical thinking and observation is left to him or her. You see, just provide those basic skills, those tools, and what the individual does with them is a different matter. So you have the diffusion, spreading, and who captures what and be able to run with it, that's a different ball game. So again, we come to the core part, which is that the university is a hub of knowledge. It's a place where so many uh, uh, knowledge veils are brought in, and then people take them just like energies and see what they can do with them. Cross pollination of ideas,
Yes.
cross pollination of culture. All these things are very much important in the process of advancing what we call the university. It is as one other thing he said. It, he said it is where people go. It is the center point of what of civilizations. It is where people go to appreciate the world. to appreciate ideas. To, again, we were talking about lighting the fire, to light the fire and see where it goes. If the
So
if the fire is not
so
lit,
if
yeah.
we no, if the fire is not lit, what happens, Prof?
If the
Sorry.
fire is not lit, then everything becomes dormant. And if everything becomes dormant, society is at a point of stagnation. The
So let's
latest,
look at the definition of
yeah, go ahead.
university. If I
Mhm.
so the definition of a university, this is from Wikipedia,
Yeah.
and the other one is from it says, and I quote, an educational institution designed for instruction,
Mm,
examination of both of students in many branches of advanced learning, conferring degrees in various, this is from Wiki, in various faculties, and
mm,
often embodying colleges and other institutions. This other
mm,
one says universities may play is in the building of a new institutions of civil society, in
mhm,
developing new cultural values, and in training and socializing people of the new
mhm,
social area, right? So
mhm.
this is from one of the books here. So Prof, my question to you is, we see, right, how in the olden days there were universities, like in that people would sit under the tree and just learn, like with
Mm.
Socrates and things.
Yes.
Does it have to be an edifice for it to be an institution of learning?
Uh, there will not be any yes or no answer. What what in the old days, as we were talking about, the preoccupation of people at that time was to dispense with ideas.
Yes.
But in current times actually going to the 1800s and what have you, in terms of solidifying the sense of an education. A university requires a lot of things.
Yes.
Yes, ideas are there, but there has to be the tools.
Okay.
There has to be the wherewithal, uh,
Okay.
the machinery. All those things are very much important to the university. One other thing I like to say about, sometimes people try to look at a college and a university. A university
No, no.
is more than ideas.
Yeah.
A university is also the production of ideas. It's not that the ideas are ready made and being given to the people. It gets to a point where people who call themselves students of the university have to become part and parcel of continuous research, continuous production of ideas. So, what singles out a university from a college basically is that university has a preoccupation of new knowledge. That is where research becomes a vital aspect of a place called the university. So it's moved away from people sitting down under trees and listening to uh, teachers propounding ideas, but it has to be a way of creating the ambience, creating the good environment for the search and the production of ideas to take place, so that
So so
every individual
so
in a
a little bit
specific field has
to
to
the
come
university.
up to, huh, what is it
Prof, hear
you were
me?
saying? No.
No,
What
can you
was the
hear me
question?
now?
Yes.
No, I'm saying I think there's a lag between my computer and, I mean, between what I say and when it comes on, because there's this thing. But I'm
Oh,
I'm saying that we're
mhm.
going now to bring this to the University of Liberia,
Yes. Okay.
and for it being a bastion of learning,
Yes.
because I think there's a disconnect. You see,
Yes.
Prof, where we work, where I work with, there's community outreach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Students go into the community for more than just surveying people.
Yes.
The job of a university is not
Yes.
whole. It's not just
Yes.
sitting in a silo.
Yes.
It's diffusing that knowledge not only at the university, but
Yes.
in the environment where you live.
Yes.
So that means that, for example, if there are if there are problems, for example, they say, oh, the Morovia is dirty. Let's say that
Yes.
way. Let's say some people say, oh, Morovia, it has a problem with garbage. It is the job, it is the duty
Yes.
of those doing planning,
Yes.
those doing health sanitation,
Yes.
to get together and
Yes.
discuss to solve here.
Yes. It's
Let's find a way to make this water flow better
yeah,
in the
yeah.
gutter.
Mhm.
So I think there's a disconnect between the University of Liberia, most of the institutions of higher learning that call themselves universities in Liberia, and what's
And the
happening on
community.
the ground
Yeah.
and the community. They don't see themselves, they see themselves as being divorced from the
Yes.
community, but they're not there,
Mhm.
because they live in the community. You're not
That's
divorced
right.
from the community.
Mhm.
so so
Yeah.
so John Newman is saying that, I mean, Cardinal Newman is saying that, um you have moral and knowledge coming together.
Yes.
There's no disconnect between them.
Mhm.
So let's look at another one of his quotes. If my internet is not okay. He said, it is a great point then, I'm quoting from him now. It is a great point then to enlarge the range of studies which a university professes, even for the sake of the students.
Yeah.
And though they cannot pursue every subject which is open to them, they will be the gainers by living among those and under those who represent the whole
Full
circle.
cycle.
This I conceive to be the advantage of a seat of universal learning,
Yeah.
an assemblage of learned men, zealous for their own sciences, and rivals of each other,
Mhm.
are brought by familiar intercourse and for the sake of intellectual peace
Yeah.
to adjust together the claims and relations of their respective subjects of
Yeah.
investigation.
Yeah.
They learn to respect, to consult,
Mhm.
to aid each other.
It's an explosion of interactions.
Yes,
It's an explosion of interactions in a place there. Beautiful explosion. Everyone trying as much as possible to pitch in
yes,
to make sure that others understand what is going on, and the mutual respectability becomes very much important in the process.
to learn, to respect,
Yes.
and to aid each other. So if you're doing economics,
Mhm.
you're not saying, oh, me, I just want to learn economics and get a job. No, you,
Yeah.
you are saying, okay, you know what? Perhaps I can volunteer my time with the entrepreneurship.
Yes.
I can do something. You
Yes.
know, the community
Yeah.
is my training ground.
The community is my training ground. If it is health literacy, you must be ready to give. If it is financial literacy, you must be able to
Yes,
give that. If it is language literacy, you must be able to go out there. And so that is, in fact, that brings me to the point of the question of free education. Can there be reciprocal service? Can there be reciprocal service where, even though these students might be learning free, as we say, but that they have a responsibility, they are given a responsibility to go out there to remain a service to the community, a service to the nation. Of course, people talk about the what national service corps and what have you, but it is very much important that these
yes,
young people these young people, I say young in a very loose sense, these young people get out there, are guided to make sure that by the time they are even graduating from college, graduating from the university, that their services have permeated the community, permeated the nation. Is it not possible that for somebody to go out there just preaching politics to talk about free education, just like that? Is it not possible for those
So,
things
so,
to be
so
guided?
Cardinal Newman really, he thought about these things in that idea of a university, and
Yeah.
that book is online. So if you have the time, read that book. It's really really a good book. The idea of a university. So if we look at it, he's also saying the university, I mean, as well as the home, because by the
Yeah.
time you get to the university, you've grown. But he says
Yes.
the university is also a place of moral training.
Yes. Making
You know,
you a fuller and better person. A fuller
yes.
and better person. Not arrogant and reckless and all that kind of a thing.
So one of the lessons for morality is that it's reciprocal. You
Yes.
don't stretch your hand and get things just for free.
Yes.
There's a greater good out there. So if you're saying that, okay, we're going to make the university free,
Yeah.
right? I don't understand, because making the university free, even where I work, students get, free, but they have to contribute something that will make them value the education more. To
So
say, I
mhm,
worked
yes.
towards my education.
Mhm, mhm,
Nobody gets
yeah,
anything for free.
yes.
So now what's
Mm,
happening at the university is that, because there's no influx of tuition money coming in,
yes.
right? The quality is dropping,
Yeah.
because you don't have the finance now. Now,
Mhm,
if you look at Ghana, right? I mean, when the students come here, they have to bring that national service certificate.
yes.
They don't get that degree until they bring it, And so when they come, they will say, "Oh yes, my national service certificate." I'll be like, "Oh,
Because
so now I know what it is." So why not say, like Zambia does, if you and you go to university free, you're going to teach in the rural area. They send them to choose. They send them to the rural areas for them to teach for two
yeah,
years, and then you can decide what you want to do. Some of them want to remain, some of them want to return, but there must be a
must
reciprocal
be.
nature.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
There must be.
And you must not create a batch of dependent students that are so dependent on whatever is given, and they never give anything in return. So it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be money, but there can be created man hours, resource hours, so that these people, in a sense, recognize their own human value. You can't afford to be, or you should not
Yes,
afford to be at the receiving end all the time.
it builds character too. It
It
builds
builds
character. now
character.
now okay, so yeah, but also, if you look at what happened, right? What happened at the university, right?
Yeah.
Newman is saying that freedom of thought must not be censored, right?
Yes.
It mustn't be censored. Okay.
Yes.
Now, what happened at the university, and we're drifting a little bit into politics, but was that
No, but
what Newman was
Jackie,
referring to?
Jackie, let
No,
me
I'm
let
asking
me
you, was that what Newman
no
was referring to?
no, what you were just saying in an aside, I don't want it to be here. I mean, at least that, to say we are drifting into politics. What is politics? What is politics but an accumulation of power and authority that is what usable to the entire nation, to the entire community. So what we are saying here matters a whole lot within the context of making sure, because these people who are supposed to be students or whatever, tomorrow they become what? they become the next generation of power holders and power distributors. So if these things are not inculcated into them, definitely we don't have a good a generation tomorrow to depend on in the country. So what you are saying now, you can say it. I just wanted to make sure that this is not something about policies. It is the real deal. It is life and death matter we are talking about. So the question of
what I'm saying is that the students at the university, they marched, right?
yes,
And I guess because of the hard time in Liberia, so that was bringing the community into the university.
okay,
We're reacting for something, right? So my question to you,
yeah,
when Mr. Gray marched
yes,
and came into
yes.
the university,
Mm-hmm.
what should have been the appropriate response? And do you think that when it comes to the role of the university, the idea of the university as an incubator
Yeah,
for free thought,
yes.
do you think that the students should have been punished? Let me put it that way.
We
As an educator, how do you feel based
we
on Cardinal Newman?
we should the thing about it is that uh, we should not be in a state of having surprises sprung on us. We should not be in a state of having surprises sprung on us. Something of that vital tension that was brewing or that brewed on that campus. People should have been in the know. People should have been in the know about what was about to happen in there. That is why we have all the major administrators out there. It didn't have to be, for instance, even the president of the university, but they are the vice presidents. There's the vice president for communication, vice president for student affairs, and all that. What would have been their role? Their role should have been making sure that they were on top of things, and that would not, what exploded over there would not have easily exploded. Somebody might say, "Oh well, and you'll say free thinkers and what have you," but it would have been very much important that all things were coordinated out there, and so you didn't have the clash of a Gray coming in there when he should have been really wherever he's supposed to have been. Why would he talk about the idea of going to have lunch with what students? What was it, Seth? What was it?
Yeah.
What did he go out to do? He went out there to have what?
To lunch
Lunch.
at the student center.
And
Okay,
and
okay,
and
Prof.
and
We're on education, so we're going to talk this thing. What do you think the administration should have done? This president, this Zawolo Nelson, what do you think he should have done?
this is what I'm saying. There shouldn't have been the point of what? A surprise sprung on the university. That's the first order of business. There shouldn't have been a surprise sprung on the university. It should have been well coordinated so that there won't have been a clash with a Gray. What is it? Aloysius Gray or Carlos Gray? What is his name?
Great, Akara's great.
Carlos Gray. Yeah, there shouldn't have been any situation creating a Carlos Gray to match with able-bodied men to demonstrate that he has power too, and the university people have power too, and just to enjoy the clash, to show off what?
But do you agree that the university, like Liberia, their grounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're secret. That because education takes place there, that should
Yes,
not be a battleground between government officials and the students.
this is what I'm saying. No, it shouldn't be that way. It should not be that way. The university is part of the cream of society. The
Okay.
cream activities of society will go on at the University of Liberia. This is not where people go to show how brutal they are or how violent they are and what have you. That is sacrilegious. Is the first thing. That is sacrilegious. That's what I'm saying. In in a normal course of business, if if uh, Representative Gray wanted to have lunch with some of the with some of the students he is sponsoring, there would have been a way of doing that. There would have been a way of doing that, and there would have been this would have been coordinated with the university administration, the students, and whoever would have been part of the process. So this the university is not a place to show how mature you are and what have you, and that's what was demonstrated these past few days. It shouldn't have been that way.
Okay. One of the things he said, and we can discuss before we move back to I'm telling you, my computer is so, but is coming. The slide says, and if I can read it, if is coming, but I just want us okay. He says a university training, right,
Yes,
is the great ordinary means to a great but ordinary end. It aims at raising the intellectual tone of society,
yes,
at cultivating the public mind, at purifying the national taste, at supplying true principles to popular enthusiasm and
yes,
fixed aims to popular aspiration, at giving enlargement and sobriety to the ideas of the age, at facilitating the exercise of political power, and refining the intercourse of private life. It is the education which gives a man a clear, conscious view of his own opinions and judgment, a truth in developing them, an eloquence in expressing them, and a force in urging them. It teaches him to see things as they are, to go right to the point, to disentangle a skein of thought, to detect what is sophistical and to discard what is irrelevant. It prepares him to fill any post with credit and to master any subject with facility. Oh, that was long. So,
yeah.
Prof,
But
that is the
is
aim of the university
again,
training.
again, at the heart of it all is the idea of the university being a place that produces the sober-minded and someone who has a civil attitude towards the observation of life as it goes on, to be that person, that go-to person, to be that go-to person in first pacifying conditions and ensure also that the mind is so clear in handling vexing problems. So if you have a place where violence will go on, if you have
Prof,
a place where
my
disruption is the thing
computer,
that people
my
indulge in,
my internet
then there
is
is a
very bad
problem.
tonight.
Then there is a problem. That is why I said that such a thing that happened these past few days, there should have been a significant coordination. Some time ago, I pointed out that if you have unbridled freedom, there is bound to be anarchy. There has a way of coordinating things. You can still coordinate things and express what you want to express. But if there is much chaos, if there is disjointedness, then definitely nothing goes on well. And if nothing goes on well, then one has to ask the question where the university idea should be found.
I think that I want to read a quote from when the Liberia, right? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So it says, I'm quoting now, such an institution is evidently the greatest want that the new republic, which is Liberia, the new republic now has. It is essential for her well-being. It may be
Yes.
set down as a political axiom that a republic cannot exist without her church, the college, and the schoolhouse.
Yes.
In Liberia, her teachers of religion and of science must be trained on her own soil and beneath her own bright sun, right? So when Liberia College was founded, and Chief Justice Drayton said,
Yeah.
and I'll put it up because I want to say something about this, if it's going to come. So he says the objective of this institution, which is Liberia College,
Yes.
is to develop and give tone to those lofty geniuses of our race who are to retain, by the power of knowledge, the sacred legacy of freedom bequeathed to us by our fathers. The college must train ministers, rulers, mechanics, and agriculturalists. Education is the dissemination of letters, the diffusion of refinement, and the security of national value. The growth and prosperity of a people is certainly in proportion to its intellectual improvement.
Yeah.
This is about the University of Liberia.
Mm-hmm.
So after we have that, now we come to what's happening. What is a university? A university is a place where there is rebellion. Because, Prof, you cannot learn if you are not curious and if you cannot challenge.
Yes.
Even when you want to, oh, maybe I walk, you gravity. They is a place where you go to test what you're learning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people might say, oh, if there was violence, but if you have graduated from the university, as Mr. Gray claims he did, you now should be armed with the tools to say to yourself, I am now an educated person. These kids at the university, they are trying to get what attained.
Yeah.
So
And the thing,
I will show them education behave.
yes.
That if my is throwing a tantrum, I am not going to throw a tantrum, Prof. I'm
Yes.
going to show that my child what an adult parent is. So what he did, I'm sorry to say, it shows that he may be literate, but he did not get education, because education, an educated person will look at the situation, determine their of action, and
Yes.
if they see that that other person is acting in an untoward manner, they will reverse their course.
Yes.
In order for him to show that he is an educated person, he should have said,
Yes.
okay, maybe we can sit down to the table.
Yes.
Let me
Yes.
hear your concerns. You know, his stature, he would have been 10 feet tall in my
Yes.
eyes, to say, this man, you know, this man is an educated man. He
Yes.
has shown that when he went through the halls of the university, he gained moral knowledge. He gained
Yes.
what's his name? What Cardinal Newman
Human.
said. He gained an intellectual culture, right?
Yeah.
He aspired to be, and he got refinement in the
Yes.
intercourse of his private life,
Yeah.
at facilitating the
Yeah.
exercise of political power, at giving
Yeah.
sobriety, at being something other
Other than.
than what these people were doing. I'm sorry, Prof, but for me,
Yeah.
regardless of what they were doing, unless they were threatening lives, which is the role now of the police coming in,
Mhm.
he, as somebody who has gone through what they've gone through and he has come out, should have exercised caution, because Cardinal Newman says you also get moral training when you go through a university, and that was
And,
not shown at that
and
place.
and remember now that the quote we just read, there's something about national virtue. When you come
Yes,
out of a university, you become representative. You become representative of the best. You become representative of
yes,
the best that the nation can offer the world. The best the
yes,
nation can offer the world. This being a braggadocio, this being uh, wanting to demonstrate how equally violent or more violent you are, will not serve the situation, will not serve a better purpose. I wish we would understand these things. And there was a point where we talk about uh, you. There's rebellious. There was a term about rebellion. Now, people should be able to put it into context. The rebellion I've spoken about over there is more of being able to understand your position and articulate it very well, just as another person is articulating his or hers very well. We don't have to follow the same path, but still we can be what I call, we can be friendly, we can be friendly but firm. We can be friendly but firm. In other words, if you have your idea, I have my idea. Just like what we do on this place here, we don't go pounding the desks, pounding tables here and there and say, no, I'm right. You are right. No, I'm right. No. You lay out your ideas, I lay out my ideas, and what have you. That trading, that civil way of trading ideas is very much important within the context of university life. And that is the character, sadly, that is gradually missing out of the university culture that John Newman, for instance, will be talking about, as we see in some of the things he's laid out there.
and Prof, one of the things is that I had dinner last night with a very interesting with for graduate students, but a very interesting visitor we had. He's responsible for secondary education in one of the African countries, and one of the students asked him, say, "Well, how do you know, right? When you're going to vote, we Africans, we're good at voting people in.
Mhm.
I mean, taking people out, but not voting people in. We can say, oh,
Yes.
we'll take the man out, but we don't know the. So he asked that question, and I started to think about it, and I jumped in the conversation to answer him. You know that essay, how do you know it is good,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
By
that was our piece
Myers
at the
Mendes.
university,
Yes. Mhm.
and it's by associating with the good, right?
Yes.
So how do you know a good leader? You know a good leader when you say, growing up, these were the virtues that I saw in my parents, right? Or the person I admire, I saw that they walked a certain way.
Yeah.
Like people say they walk chalk line, right?
Mhm.
Okay. And I started to put together my own criteria of what is good, right? By mixing with these people, I learned not to lie. By mixing with these people, I learned that um, I should have privacy of person. By mixing with these people, I learned that not everybody or everything needs my attention. So I put together my code, my own personal code, but based on these people I admire.
Yeah.
So when I'm looking for somebody to vote for, in my interaction with this person, I have my code.
Yeah.
And I have my checklist, you know, and in order of priority, I'm evaluating you. And I'm saying to myself, is this the person I want to put in? You know, like I say to people when they say, oh, you know, I don't want to vote for this person. I say, look, I'm not looking for an admirer. I'm for a competent person. That's what I want to world needs, right? I don't care. I don't have to like you, but I must respect you. You know, I don't have to like you. I'm not your friend. I want you. I want a person that I can respect. Who likes their boss? Your boss. Do you really like your boss? Every day the boss comes telling you what to do, but you respect him or you respect her. That's why when she tells you what to do, besides the paycheck, you go and do it because you say, oh, I'm doing this thing because this person is competent. This
Knows
person,
what he or she is doing. Yes.
yes. So that is what you look for. I don't care. I don't want to like you. I'm not going to invite you to my house, but I must respect you to be able to vote for you, to put you in
When the
government.
time comes.
So what I'm saying is that regardless of if these students at the university were engaged in something that threatened the lives of people, then the police comes in. I'm not saying that the police cannot come at the university. What I'm saying is exactly what has been happening through the years from Socrates, Plato. The university ferments rebellion because it's opening our minds. You know, the educational system of Africa was run on the colonial lines. They tell you what to do. Rote learning. Yes, you repeat. Because during colonization, they were just looking for workers. They were not there to open your mind. They were there to 2 + 2 is 4, 3 + 3 is 6, you know, like that. So you can just be able to read the instructions to do their work. When these people left, we still have this colonial educational system. That's why when you come outside, I'm in my class, you know, in my in graduate school, and we're reading books, Prof, and you know, and we're sitting, and the teacher will lay back and say, so Jackie, what do you think? And I'm like, what? She said, what do you think of the book? Tell me what you think. But as you're explaining, you know, why you think this book is great or is not great, you are linking ideas together. You are creating a criteria to judge the next book. You see, so what I'm saying is that these criteria that we have gathered through life, you know, if you're looking for a friend, this is your criteria. If you're looking for a partner, this is your criteria. If you're looking for a leader, you have a criteria. What I'm saying is that our legislators, we also should have a criteria for them. And one of that criteria should be maturity. Maturity and not a tolerance, but a semblance of decorum. You know, of decorum, of the way you conduct yourself that demands respect. That when you walk into the room, somebody says, oh, you know, good afternoon. Not to say, oh, I have to speak to this person because I'm afraid of them. But I want to speak to this person because this person is somebody I admire, you know? So what I'm saying is that Cardinal Newman, I mean, this is a man who was in the Anglican Church, left the Anglican Church, went to the Catholic Church. His family abandoned him because he left the Anglican, the Church of England, and moved to Catholicism. But he still challenged Catholicism because he found that there were things within the religious books that he had to question. You know, but now it's like, oh, when you read the Bible, just believe what everything. No, you question. You know, sometimes I do. Why do bad things happen to good people? Where is God? that doesn't lessen our faith. It's only saying, as God said, my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither
Yeah.
are my ways your ways.
Yeah.
So all it's doing is proving
Yeah.
him true, that I'm questioning things I don't know, but that's because I don't understand. And God is saying to me, you don't have to understand, right? So I'm sorry to go on this tirade, but what I'm saying is just that I think that if children are misbehaving, you who are in another place, a place of, don't forget, law, because you are a lawmaker, you know, lawmaker, that is why you now have to show them that I am not like you, right?
I'm a little above you.
I'm not like you. This is what education has given me, and this is what you must have.
Yeah.
And we have all gone through this. This is a portal that you're passing through, and you
Yeah.
will get through. You know, I mean, I'm sorry,
It's,
bro.
yeah. No. They again. Less people ignore the fact that what a university teaches is not herd mentality. Is not
Yes,
herd mentality. It's much of independence.
yes,
It is much
yeah,
of individuality. Yet it also teaches harmony, because without harmony, the institution can disintegrate. So, how do you bring it all together? One, that it teaches individuality, and at the other end, it teaches what? Harmony. Without harmony, nothing so easily exists. Without harmony, nothing so easily exists. So, the guardrails that are supposed to ensure there is that harmony should be sought out and brought into the view of other people, so that they see that that is part of what people say we must what we must agree to disagree, something of that sort, or we must
yes,
disagree to agree.
yes,
Whatever it is, there has to be that element of sanity. There has to be that element of sanity. We cannot get to the point of rolling our sleeves, sweat pouring us down, and we bare our breasts to want to pick up fights and what have you. That is not healthy for people who are educated. That is not healthy for people who intend to support an institution that is supposed to produce sound men and women that are supposed to carry on from one generation to the other. You hear that on the university campus, there are students who are daring and what have you. That is probably what they have. So you don't go to want to participate. You don't want to go to throw monkey wrench and all those things in there to just blow up everything. And then you say you have a country, and then you say you have a power base that people can respect and that sort of a thing. And then again, I come to the part where with all the good people I know on the university campus and what have you, I do not think it's a good thing for surprises to be sprung on them, surprises that end up embarrassing the university. There has to be that coordination. You have the vice president for student affairs. You have I think they are counseling units and what have you. Before even the thing can get to the president of the university, there should have been that coordination, so that they would have been aware, instead of just uh, leaving everything like a laissez-faire type of thing and leaving everything to just anybody. and people make inflammatory speeches and what have you, there had to be a way of dealing with that. There had to be a way of dealing with that. There had to be a respectable type of rebellion, if we want to call it.
Prof, we all have rebelled. You know, the thing is that if you had just let things lie, right? How many rebellions haven't we seen on campus or protests? Amos Sawyer, the
Yes.
same people who are protesting for Amos Sawyer are now in government,
Yes.
and they are saying, oh, but these other people shouldn't be protesting.
Yeah.
It's a natural way of, I mean, it's a rite of passage.
Yeah.
You rebel against with your parents, you rebel against rules. It's a natural passage you will go through. If you have left them, if they are in the university, it's their grounds, let them sing, let them do whatever. And then when they're done, eventually run out of steam. The university, looking at that place that we called home, so sacred to us, how dirty it was. Nobody can say, okay, you know what, let's on Saturday take a broom. Let's do the cleanup day. Let's do community engagement. Let's cook and come and clean our university. Nothing. So just leave them, because you see, that's a rite of passage. How many people have not gone through the protest and are now in government or in other places? So the thing, what we're saying is not that we don't know that, but it was not to the point where a lawmaker, instead of calling them together, should have done this. But let's read some of the comments, Prof. I think we have a few comments here. Chebo says, thanks for the show. Thank you for always being here. Emmanuel Jackson says, a university. Prof, my computer is so
A
slow. A
university
university, an educational
is an
institution, is
educational.
instruction designed for enhancing learning, often embodied in colleges and similar institutions. Yeah, we agree, Emmanuel. And your friend is telling them to keep sharing the show. Share it to Mr. Next time. He shouldn't he shouldn't do that. Emmanuel, exactly, Dr. Nagbe, university must be advancing research and development of ideas or ideals in scientific knowledge. Okay. And Chebo agreed with Emmanuel. And my own sis, Goa Miller, says the university community relations, yeah, is what they call town gown partnership in some cities. Yeah, I agree with Boa. Yeah. And Prince Kamara says hello. And Emmanuel Jackson says, once I was walking in the Franklin Park in Boston, was approached by Boston University teams from the College of Demographics interviewing park goers. On the park, how many community residents walked in the park, maintenance of the park, safety in park, etc. I was, wow, university doing that in a community. That's what Boa was saying, town gown partnership. Instead of just sitting down and not doing anything. Prof, even okay, Emmanuel Jackson, politics is the acts of determining policies, social, political, and economics. Yep. Yeah. Game say, Professor, what does the Constitution Article 13 say? Can a person tell another Liberian that a place is a no-go zone for government officials? Prof, I'll let you answer that. Just
It,
exemption? I don't think so. That's a no-go zone.
no, no. Is anyone saying
Prof,
that?
you want to answer that?
I said, no, he said that. I said, no, is anyone saying that? But something is done, and if it is not done right, you just have to what? You just have to raise the flag. So it is not a matter of whether Akaras Gray was not supposed to go on campus. But Did he have to go on campus? Clearly, with the hope that his group will clash with any other group? Do we want that to happen on the university campus? So it's more of the manner. It's more of the manner
So,
and clearly the goal that was sought to be achieved. You see? So that's the contention people are raising, and we are talking about here, my brother.
Article 13 says every person lawfully within the republic shall have the right to move
Mm-hmm.
freely throughout Liberia, to reside in
Mm-hmm.
any part
Mm-hmm.
thereof, and to leave
Mm-hmm.
therefrom, subject,
Mm-hmm.
however, to the safeguarding of public security, public
Uh-huh.
order, public health
Uh-huh.
or morals, or the rights and freedom of others. How was he
Uh-huh.
impaired? He
Uh-huh.
went there. He went there. It's not like they said to safeguard. No, so it means that if the students were out on the streets, right? I can understand Mr. Gaiman's argument, but they weren't. They weren't. How were they? How were they blocking other people? They were. Is it lawfully within right? The republic should have the right to move freely throughout Liberia. But who has the right to move freely? Can I just walk all through the legislature and say, "Oh, I have the right to move freely"? No, that within reason. You see, that's sometimes
But
when
you see, but you see the words,
yeah,
Jackie, you see the word lawfully, you see safeguarding and all these.
yeah,
Were they present in the mission he took on campus there?
yeah.
Were they?
Was that lawful? Did he get permit? Did he get permit? I mean, we are digressing from this. We were talking about the fact that it's not about if you are educated. And Cardinal Newman says education is all facets of your life. Then you show the person who is going through the process of being educated, saying, I have achieved this. Let me show you how it's done. But if there's no difference between you who have graduated and the person who's going to school, you're acting the same way, what's the value of education?
But I
Because
don't know what Jerome will have to say. The key words that are in there lawfully and safeguarding and then security and all those key words that are found in that quote. What does he say about them? And
he says
do we?
the soup has even gone on the campus of the AME University, destroying a private property. Their reasoning was that there were students at that university understood to be government sympathizers. When did we go from intellectual discourse to militancy?
Uh-huh.
So perhaps, like I said, if they had left things alone, maybe, the militancy would not have come out. Hi, hello. How are you? Thank you for joining us. Mr. Gaiman comes back. Ms. Sayegh, the Solicitor General, was peacefully invited and he was attacked when a threat of no-go zone is established and carried out, as they did it cross the intellectual boundaries into criminality. Mr. Gaiman, when even if maybe it crossed the boundary, that is not what you heard me when I said that's the role then of the police. The police comes in, right? The police, Mr. Gray is not a police officer. He's not there to bring law and order on campus. That is not his job. Okay, as a lawmaker, he should not instigate. That's what we're saying.
But
So say yes, Prof.
no, what I'm saying is that I actually I don't know the context of his query. Perhaps he can contextualize the contextualize the motive of his query. No one, as we've been talking here, no one, at least as far as I know, was applauding either the students or the gray men. And if we talk about the broad frame of things, the gray men should have been the individual who what rise above, who rise above. What capacity did he have or did he show to rise above whatever students may have been doing? And if there were important things for students to have done on campus there, would they have veered off to the point of the presumed militancy that they were carrying on that campus there? Would they have? So the Mr. Jerome Gaiman, he has the honors to tell us what his contention is as far as the question of if, Article 13. Article 13 stress it out there. There is a key point of being lawful, safeguarding things, and keeping security in mind. So what does he make of those keywords that are found in the very passage that he proposed that people look at?
And so Musu says, agree. Presence in leadership is important. Emmanuel says, exactly, Miss Sai. And let's see if there's any. Eddie Eddie said, does the president of the university work at the will and pleasure of the president of Liberia? Yes. Right, Prof? He does.
Yeah,
You
of
would
course.
know.
He appointed him, and then the board approved. So he works at the pleasure. So why did he ask that question? Maybe
Yeah.
we should be. Why did he ask that
No,
question?
I was saying that when Liberia College was founded, funding for the college came from abroad. I think, and then what happened was that, because I was reading, and then what happened was that they wanted to take the university. They said the university should not be in a city.
Yeah.
That it didn't have room to grow. They wanted to take it somewhere else, and not only that, they wanted it to be more agricultural.
Yeah.
And when they were when the funding was coming from abroad, they were the ones finding the professors, and the University of Liberia trustees said, no, we want to be able to find our own professors and things. So when they withdrew the money because the university did not want to go how they were dictating, then the government of Liberia took it over to say we will fund the University of Liberia. Yeah. So Musu says, student politics at UL has always been perceived as being militant in every administration. Yes, and sometimes it's good to just air your grievances. You say, how does that not undermine academia? I agree with you totally that it does. When you bring politics in but that's what's his name? Cardinal Newman says that the institution should be free of censorship and and not the dictates, right, of the government. But Prof, don't you agree with Eddie J? I think that the university is missing a key component, that is fundraising. My university yesterday, Prof, I sent you a link. We had giving day, and within one day we raised $13 million to fund things at the university. There's no fundraiser. If the person who gives the player money, the person who pays the drummer determines the song. So of course the university, being dependent for funding on the government, would have to do what the government says. But I feel that the president, who is the visitor of the university, should not appoint the president of the university. Get a civil society committee together to give recommendations of maybe 2 or 3 persons, and then put their name out. Let them tell us their vision for the university. Let us hear what they say. Let us hear about fundraising. Let us hear about where they want to take the university 10 years from now. And then people can decide. You don't just get to appoint somebody. I mean, how many years have they been in administration? Doing research for a PhD is totally different from running an institution. So show us what you can do. I agree with Eddie, that undermines academia. Yes, I agree with Musu. The UL leadership should be professionally recruited and allowed to go after its own grant funding. you know, write grants. There are a lot of grants, Prof. You know, I mean, the university at this time should be, I mean, light in darkness. It should be the beacon for people used to come from other universities around Africa to attend the University of Liberia. You know, I mean, look at the girls' dorm. Look how dirty it is. And people just sit there and say, "Oh, I graduated from LU," but what does that mean now? You know, what does that mean? You can't it's as simple as what we did yesterday. Class of 1980, class of 1981 will compete with you. How much money you can bring? People be donating money. Why can't they do something like that? You always see them receiving these old things. Oh, no, do something. Be proactive. And I agree with Musu. Get a professionally recruited president. We don't just want somebody just because they're close to the halls of power. That's not what academia is, you know? And that's what, yeah, the best approach to appoint a president, a university president, you know, civil society. First, you professionally recruit them, let them come in front of the country, you know, tell us, let us be able to ask you questions. That's what we do here, you know, and then you go and visit different parts of the university and we ask you questions. Put me on the committees.
I mean, yes, we are talking about the appointing of the president. The redirection of students of the university in terms of exemplifying the kind of character that is supposed to promise good service to the community, promise good services to the nation. Uh, that redirection is very much important in terms of, talking about student militancy and what have you. Uh, what do they expect out of the university, and what should the university expect out of them? That reciprocal nature of service uh, between the students and the faculty, not only that, but also the school and the community, the school and the nation. That redirection is very much important in the appropriate dispensation of the role of the university in the building of the nation. That is very much important.
Yeah, Musu said there's so much funding for higher education for poor countries. If only we could get our act together. I'm telling you, Musu,
But then
I work
there's,
in higher education. There's so much money, and
yes,
now the hub. What it's doing is that universities are getting together and forming consortia. You know, consortia of different areas. Consortia for artificial intelligence,
mhm,
consortia for coil, consortia for metadata, things
yeah.
like that. Well, we are still discussing. All the people went on campus and so and so. That's so,
And
I mean,
then you see,
universities are
then,
moving.
and then so the student body, probably through their representatives, should be able to be engaged, in a fashion that will make the students productive even while they are students, instead of a lot of
Yeah,
this outbursts of zikwe all the time.
yeah, you know, okay, so I think there's another one. Say the student handbook at the should not on campuses or commit acts that have the potential to create unrest. They should not engage in acts of hooliganism,
Yes.
vandalism, or
You see,
violence. Penalty ranges from suspension
yeah.
to expulsion. And nobody is saying that should not happen. What they're saying is that these acts of hooliganism, that whatever you call it should not have been pouring oil on a flame by having another hooliganism, you know, because that's what it is. It's not just one group now, it's two or three different groups acting as hooligans on the university campus. Yeah. So the Musu, Emmanuel is asking Musu, could the UL leadership be involved in the selection of the president and the UL board of trustees? Um, I think Musu will answer that question. I don't know about the UL leadership. I mean, I haven't even heard a peep from LU alumni
Board of
association.
trustees.
Not a peep. Okay, so if Akaras Gray is
You
on
say
the
what?
board
Don't
of
tell
the
me that
University of
that
Liberia,
that, that
well,
Akaras
that's what
Gray
Ja
is on
Eddie
the
says.
board.
If he's on a board, where were the other board members? How can this man be on a board and act this way? I mean, the prof, you know what? We kind of we're coming to the end. I just feel like the university, if they knew that, I mean, we discussed the history. This university was born out of blood, sweat, and tears. It lux in tenebris. It means something to some of us. And as somebody who has graduated, Mr. Gray should have been a light in darkness to say, "Come, let's talk. Come to the table. What's happening here?" That's something that we're saying. We're not saying that, oh, the man is bad. We're saying, what is it? Come at the situation, come at the man, right? So the situation happened. This man should have come to say, you know what? Let's calm down. Let's discuss this, because don't forget, he too once upon a time was protesting all over the place. So he must know where they are coming from. That's all we're saying. We're saying that based on what Cardinal Newman says, education is an end in itself. It makes you conduct, and when you conduct yourself, people respect you, and people say, oh, so this is what an education gives you. It gives you decorum, it gives you confidence, it gives you well, I wouldn't say moral value, because sometimes it doesn't, but it gives you a way to conduct yourself. I know it's nobody wants to. People just, it's Friday night. They're either out sleeping or they're, with their friends. And we're in this place where we're
I mean,
always rushing because Dennis has a show at 8 o'clock.
with the knowledge here that Akaras Gray is on the board,
Prof, stay on this thing.
it's yeah, no, it's very much critical to what we are talking about in terms of what happened the other day. He is on the
Prof,
board.
it says question everything. So we have to find out. We can't just take somebody's word for it. Musu said the
Well,
board is a sort of
that's
consortium of former professional graduates, probably appointed through the higher learning agency of government. The president of the UL is not part of selecting the board. How is that possible? Yeah, but anyway, Prof. So here it is. Uh, it's dark now. I have to go home, but we will be here again next Friday, Prof. With another literary hour. So
yeah.
get ready. We will maybe we will not delve so much into all of this, but it's just that I think that education should stand for something. Jazz is probably, oh, I don't know. We're gonna find out if he's on the board. I don't know.
Oh, but I thought this person said that person was just speculating.
No. That's why I said me. I question everything. We don't know. Maybe Eddie is right, but we don't know if he's on the board.
Well,
Uh, uh, yeah.
I hope the Eddie man was focused when he threw that statement on the screen here to say that
Yes.
Akaras Gray is member of the board of trustees.
Mm.
I hope not.
Yeah, and Mr. Gaiman, I mean, we agree with you with Article 13, but what we're saying is that calmer heads should have prevailed.
No,
They
well,
should have, they should
for
have
me,
calmed things
I
down.
don't I don't know why he introduced Article 13. Did he introduce Article 13 to justify the gay men? I mean, the gay men said the great man going on campus, especially with his entourage of forced celebrity, something of that nature.
I will
Anyway,
leave that with you and Mr. Gaiman. So
yeah,
let's
I
wrap
know.
up, Prof, because we know you're always kicking us off when we talk too much because there's another
Well,
show coming on. So I'll let you give your comments, your closing comments.
no, summing up what we've been talking about here is for us to recognize that a nation's university, or a university for that matter, a university for that matter, is where a lot of the best of expectations are set out. Expectations regarding the sanity and the sanctity of society. A university is where thoughts from so many sources are gathered. The university is the hub of knowledge for cross fertilization, cross pollination of ideas, and all that. If things are boiling up, there has to be people mitigating instead of helping to flare up the situation that is on campus. We might think that it is an ideal thing to do, but it is an important thing for us to do because a university is part of the cream of the things that make up the respectability of the country, respectability of the nation. Anyone who does not subscribe to these things here is pulling down the country, pulling down education, and making us rot. And that is not a good idea. We always come to the point of making sure that we are critical thinkers, making sure that we are civil thinkers. Yes, rebellion, but that rebellion must be couched in respectability. A rebellion that is set for violence is not a rebellion that we should celebrate.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you so much. Uh she said the board, Musu say the board is higher than the president of of the university, right? The president answers to the board.
Yeah,
I think
yes,
so. Yeah,
yes,
yeah. Yeah, I try to look. I think that T. Nelson Williams is on a board, but I couldn't find anybody else's name. Emmanuel Jackson agrees with you that
yeah,
Prof.
but that's what it is. The you have the visitor to the university, then you have the board, then you have the faculty senate. You know, that's how it comes all the way down.
Well, we want to say thank you to to all of you for
Yes,
staying with us. Um, we know that it's a Friday night, so be safe. You know, enjoy the. We had a blizzard on Tuesday, and then Wednesday sun was shining. So the
yeah,
schizophrenic weather, enjoy it. You know,
mm-hmm.
take care, as we always say.
Yeah,
Lift Liberia up. No
yeah,
country is 100% good, and no country is 100% bad. So lift our country up, pray for our country, you know, and as we always say, whether you are for soup. I remember when I was at the university, I was for sim. So whether you are for soup, whether you support the groups that went on campus, whether you're against it, whether you don't have any feeling, which I doubt, we are all Liberians. And it behoves us to pray for our country and to work assiduously, you know, to help our country. So stay safe. And we will end again with the song, We're All Liberians. So thank you and good night.
We are